Emma had always been the quiet one in the office. She never raised her voice, never argued, and never tried to steal the spotlight. She came early, stayed late, and did her job with quiet dedication. While others took long coffee breaks and laughed loudly in the cafeteria, Emma stayed focused, the kind of employee every company wanted, but no one really noticed. Her boss, Mr. Davis, certainly noticed her, but not for the right reasons. He saw her silence as weakness, her loyalty as an opportunity. Whenever she came up with an idea, he would nod politely, then present it in the next meeting as if it were his own. And every time, Emma watched as the room applauded him for her work. She would smile faintly, pretending it didn't hurt, but deep down, every stolen word, every stolen idea, was carving anger into her soul. For 3 long years, she endured it. She told herself that hard work always wins in the end, that karma would catch up with him. But karma was slow, too slow. Then one day, everything changed. The company was preparing for its biggest presentation yet, a new AI system that could change the market completely. It was Emma's idea, her concept, her creation. She had designed every algorithm, every visual interface, every function. She spent nights in front of her computer, eyes burning, hands shaking, surviving only on caffeine and determination. But the day before the big launch, Emma walked into the conference hall and saw her boss rehearsing her entire presentation, word for word. Her slides, her code, her innovation, and his name written across it all. She stood there in shock. Something inside her snapped. She smiled faintly, turned around, and quietly walked back to her desk. That night, she didn't sleep. Instead, she made a new plan. Not one for the project, but for revenge. Over the next few weeks, she began building her case. She saved every email, every timestamp, every code file showing her authorship. She uploaded hidden backups to a private server. But she didn't stop there. She also discovered something else, a secret. Mr. Davis had been falsifying data and manipulating company reports to make himself look good to investors. And that was the key she needed. The big day arrived. The conference hall was packed. Cameras, lights, reporters. Everyone was there to witness the company's groundbreaking innovation. Mr. Davis stood on stage, smiling confidently, ready to steal the spotlight again. Today, he said proudly, we present the future of technology, a system designed by my team under my direction. Emma sat silently in the audience, watching, waiting. When he ran the demo, the program crashed. Confusion spread. Whispers began. Mr. Davis tried again, but the system refused to run. Then, slowly, Emma stood up. "Maybe I can help," as she said, her calm voice cutting through the noise. Every head turned toward her. She walked to the front, plugged in her laptop, and launched the real version of the system. Flawless, perfect, and watermarked with her digital signature. The screen came alive. The audience gasped. This," as she said softly, "is my creation." The silence that followed was heavier than any applause. Mr. Davis froze, his face pale. Within minutes, the board members began whispering. The investors demanded answers. Emma calmly opened the backup folder showing her evidence, timestamps, code commits, and even the falsified reports he had submitted. By the time the presentation ended, Mr. Davis was finished, fired on the spot. His reputation destroyed. News outlets picked up the story. A CEO exposed for stealing employees' work. A few weeks later, Emma received a promotion. But not just any promotion. She became the new head of development. The same office where Davis once sat was now hers. She placed a single photo frame on the desk, a reminder of the night everything changed. Sometimes, late at night, when she stayed back to work, she'd look out of the same window her boss once stood by, and smile. Her revenge wasn't loud or violent. It was calm, calculated, and poetic. Because in the end, the quietest people often have the loudest victories. And as she switched off the office lights one evening, she whispered to herself, "Never underestimate the quiet ones."